been to many small airports that are affiliated with universities, and they're fantastic. There's not a whole lot of top-notch universities that don't really have their own airport.
Certainly is a business connection just to Chapel Hill and the university in the same sense the highways are, or bus lines, or any other form of public transportation. It certainly served a public transportation function. In addition, it was for the sport of flying. So it's really kind of two things. And of course, you've heard about medical flights in here, and the military likes it occasionally for training into places that are dark with trees around it.
The Horace Williams Airport began in 1928 as the Martindale Airport, named after Charles Martindale, a World War I veteran and local resident. In 1940, the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill acquired the airport as a training facility for students under the United States Civil Aeronautics Administration Plan, which was commonly known as the CAA. Oswald Ryan, senior member of the CAA, was quoted in 1941, "The University of North Carolina Airport will be the #1 collegiate airport of the nation."
There was nothing out here. This was the boondocks. That was way out of town.
The airport property was expanded and named after philosophy professor Horace Williams, who donated nearly 100 acres for the university airport. The airport had 3 dirt runways, all 500 feet wide and between 4,000 and 5,000 feet long. From 1940 until 1943, nearly 180 UNC Chapel Hill students received government-sponsored flight training. In addition, baseball star Ted Williams and former presidents Gerald Ford and George H.W. Bush received their Navy primary flight training at Horace Williams Airport during World War II.
There was almost always an airplane moving somewhere. It wouldn't be long.
We ride our bikes out here. Now and then. We loved airports. We could see aircraft in the pattern from our house.
The 1960s was an important decade for Horace Williams Airport. In 1961, the Chapel Hill Flying Club was established at the airport and quickly became popular, attracting UNC students, faculty, and local residents to come learn to fly. In 1968, the UNC Flight Department was created and oversaw AHEC, the Area Health Education Center, an essential medical transportation service for the university. 2 runways were eventually closed, and the remaining runway was finally paved in the early 1970s. The following decades were a golden age for the airport. Activity level was constant. The airport was at its capacity of 50 based planes, the Chapel Hill Flying Club continued to grow and gain members, and AHEC and medical air operations were prosperous. The airport was full of airplanes and people, a great recipe for stories and good times.
You could come out here and there'd be people hanging around. There'd be people doing something in the club hangar or, something. You just hang out with people. So it was a fun place.
It used to be a great environment with a mix of experienced pilots and young students, and a real positive atmosphere.
It was busy because the club was a rather sizable presence there. Yeah, it was a great airport to train out of.
I love that feeling.
The convenience is great because it's about halfway between my office and my house. I used to joke that my car could not go from work to home without turning into the airport. It would automatically turn into the airport. One of the older gentlemen who owned a beautiful antique airplane, and somehow it got picked and he agreed to do it for a Playboy photo shoot. So they were out here doing a Playboy photo shoot across the runway where, nobody could see what was going on. I'd get a phone call from home saying, when are you going to leave the airport and come home, you know?
As the Horace Williams Airport grew, the town of Chapel Hill grew in tandem and engulfed the airport property with residential areas, businesses, and schools. The activity level of the airport was bothersome and of concern to local residents, and serious attempts to close the airport started in the 1960s. From the late 1960s through the early 1990s, there was legitimate discussion of relocating the airport so that it was not as close to municipal areas. A series of non-fatal crashes in the late 1990s stirred up fear in local communities about flying and raised the university's eyebrows. After a communication error following an incident in 2001, UNC Chapel Hill forced the Chapel Hill Flying Club to leave Horace Williams Airport. They are currently at the Sanford Lee County Airport as the Wings of Carolina Flying Club. This shift has now made flight training for UNC Chapel Hill students much less accessible. In 2002, Chancellor Meeser announced that UNC Chapel Hill would be closing the Horace Williams Airport and replacing it with the Carolina North Campus. Since this announcement, private owners have moved their airplanes off of Horace Williams Airport, and UNC Chapel Hill has continually lowered the maximum number of planes allowed to be based at the airport. In 2011, as a result of a shaky future for Horace Williams Airport and pressure from the university, AHEC and Medical Air Operations left Chapel Hill in favor of a newly constructed hangar at the Raleigh-Durham Airport.
You know, at some point it was stated that they would never close this airport until another functional airport was open, but I think they've abandoned that idea. You eliminate the clients that are paying the most rent and the clients who are buying the most fuel, and then surprise, you're not making money anymore. That seemed to come as a surprise to some people. If you actually get somebody who says, oh yeah, we're going to close that airport, and ask them why, I'd be willing to bet they can't give you an answer other than because somebody said we were going to. The fear of the damage a plane like mine would do is greatly exaggerated. The fear is that I land and hit the school and the school blows up, and you know, that's not going to happen. Even when the airport was busy, people that lived nearby, most people didn't really even realize it was here. It was not a major noisemaker. A couple of years or so ago, Sanford Airport was going to repave their runway, and they needed to close for about 30 days. And so there were a whole lot of people down in Sanford who said, hey, can we come up here for 30 days? And they said no. It's like, you're not going to close the airport within the next 30 days. Why not get 30 days of rent out of, 20 different airplanes or whatever it would have been? I think that's really interesting that since I have an airplane out here, I could go buy more airplanes and bring them out here, and that's okay. But somebody who doesn't have an airplane out here is not allowed to do that.
It looks gloomy. Fortunately, it's a big country, and I think there's lots of space and people that will have means to continue, and there will always be some kids, some folks that really think aviation is just their cup of tea and just what they want to do.
The Young Eagles program helps inspire kids to fly and realize their passion for aviation through free flights. These memorable and monumental flights are the first step for upcoming pilots. Since the program's inception in 1992, Horace Williams Airport has hosted over 4,000 Young Eagles flights. However, in 2002, UNC Chapel Hill decided to interfere with an annual event.
That was a Young Eagles event for the kids that come to the burn camp every year. We used to bring the kids out here, and it was almost an all-day event, and we'd be flying kids for hours. That was at the point in time that the university had announced they were going to close the airport. And the university let us know that we were not allowed to fly the kids. So the university decided that we could have a Pet the Airplane Day. And they cited safety factors. So we came out, we staged a few airplanes out so the kids could see them and get in them and things like that. the university got a bus or two and brought the kids out in the bus, and then all of a sudden, one of the buses started rolling. I jumped in front of it. Somebody else saw it, also jumped in front of it, figuring we could stop it. Well, the harder we pushed against it, the harder the bus was pushing. So we finally just jumped out of the way. It hit the hangar door on the big gray hangar, and that door then snapped off the thing and in and hit one of the airplanes that was staged. So I just thought it was very interesting that they cited safety factors, and the only safety issue we had was from the bus that they used to bring the kids to the airport.
You mentioned once you saw someone in a jet who was mad about the situation.
He obviously was sitting in the office area reading a report of the neighbors' complaints about the airport. And when he took off, he barely cleared the trees and leveled the airplane, leveled the jet, and basically buzzed the neighborhood on their way out before he took off.
Over there, it's a very dicey subject. There are those there that want it and appreciate it, and there are those there who don't want it and don't really appreciate it.
The standoffs of the airport supporters and those that would rather do something else with the land has been ongoing for decades. I have understood that the number of tenants, the aircraft based here that pay rent, has been frozen. In other words, nobody knew, and so I think they're hoping through attrition there'll be fewer and fewer people based here. This is now the pilot lounge of the airport.
It's abandoned.
Yeah, well, the whole airport's kind of abandoned.
There used to be a lot of people who would come out and just stand at the fence and watch planes come and go. Now you can come out here and spend almost all day and not see a plane move.
The reduced activity levels have resulted in the airport becoming a back burner issue and escaping the cognizance of the local community and UNC students. So have you guys heard of the Horace Williams Airport?
No.
I'm not.
No.
No.
Do you know that there is an airport near here?
I only knew about the Raleigh-Durham one.
No.
No. No.
Or do you?
Horace Williams Airport. Automated weather observation 2137. Zulu. Wind 070 at 04. Visibility 10.
If you're flying just for fun, if you're flying as a recreation, I don't think there's any better way to do it than a local airport.
A lot of people think of a university as sort of trying to help people learn new things in whatever field, and so it kind of makes sense to support an interest like flying. These people who live right around here, are they going to be as happy when this is part of the university campus?
If and when this ever does close, it'll be real interesting to see how happy they are with what's happened. My dreams have the university deciding that they want to keep it and put some money into it and really make it a gem, which they could do. I keep hoping that somebody realizes what an asset this airport really could be and really is to the university and to the town. The folks flying in for football games and the number of patients that have been brought into the hospital over the years. There's been a lot of money that's been brought into the local economy because the airport's here. There's certainly those that feel like, let's just be quiet, things are functioning. Despite the fact they're not functioning well, they're functioning. Just let it keep hanging on. they're certainly acting as though they're still going to really close the airport. I'd hate to see the day when it's not here anymore.
That the Chapel Hill Flying Club is, you got that turned on. Is that why you're pointing it at me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Well, you could let me know. But